what is wrong with Pastor Femi Lazarus brushing off his choir members and using them for ministration? Do you know that this pastor that invites popular artists to their church is transactional? Do you know what I mean by that? They invite them so that they would get crowds to come for their convention or whatever thing they are doing at the church. And when they come with the people that play their drums. Most of those artists, they come with people that play their drums, people that the people that play all the instruments, and you don't need God pay for it. No, I understand, but the point is, why don't he? There are a lot of artists that are still coming up that doesn't have the popularity these guys have. Why didn't Pastor Femi Lazarus?
Hold on, allow something.
Please, why you do that? Keep your biases aside, because I feel like people have their rhetorics about religion in Nigeria, so that's what makes it. That's what makes people, whenever they hear church or religion, they come up with why would which side and the rest.
Okay, thank you.
The gospel industry, the gospel music industry, is not the same as a secular industry. There's something called ministry and profession. You can be a singer by profession and have a ministry as a singer. Now, ministry is service unto God. Profession is what you exchange value for your reward. So when it comes to gospel, when you say a gospel musician, are you referring to the lyrics, or are you referring to it as your ministry? I could come out and say, oh, I'm singing gospel song because of I'm saying God, Jesus. Or I could say it's my calling, it's my ministry. Now, who calls? Who sends? The Bible says, when I called you, lacketh you anything? Jesus was asking the disciples, and he said nothing. So when you are in ministry, you have to differentiate. Are you in ministry or are you in a profession? If you say you're in ministry, as a minister, don't expect pay. Because why? Your service is to God. It's your heart. Ministry is a heart service to him, not your day-to-day feeding. Now, God is your employer. God will settle you. And God settles you with men. God can raise people that will give you more than what you can even ask as a charge. Now, when you have a profession, that's different. It's good. If you're a singer, if you're called to sing as a profession, that's wonderful. But don't say you are doing ministry and you're looking for charge or payment. That's very wrong.
Okay, thank you, Pastor.
What you said, okay? There is the profession of gospel artistry and there is ministration. Ministration is spiritual, am I correct? Fantastic. I think in that case, in the Christendom, there needs to be a directory of those who are singing for transaction purpose and for those who are singing based on personal ministry. That is the gift of the Holy Spirit. This conversation wouldn't exist if the pastors were only focusing on people that were doing it for ministry. This conversation exists and it was born out of the fact that they are looking for free service from people who want paid transactions. Somebody made a statement in Yaba Left Online and said Nathaniel Bassey and Johnson Oyekon, they don't charge, but yet they make money. Excuse me? If they do not charge, then it goes back to your point where it says that's their ministry. Okay? But you can't call some other artists. Chris Oyakilome also brought this conversation up some months ago. And I think it's unfair that you're expecting Frank Edwards, who has blown. It's his choice. He came from Christ Embassy. But he has decided that, this ministry, I don't want to do it again. I want some money. Why? Because this is my first and only career. What? Gospel music. So, like I said, this conversation wouldn't exist if the pastors just focused on people that want to do ministry.
Okay, thank you. Hold on, you will talk.
How do I know what? Please let him ask me. Let me answer him.
Saying these things we are saying, I think we need to make a difference.
Okay.
From gospel musicians and the secular artists. There is no difference between the both of them.
Okay.
This one is performing in the church, and this one is performing for the acclaimed worldly people. Do you understand? So there is no difference between the both of them.
Okay.
Both of them are charging. I think we are just attaching too much spirituality to whatever they are doing.
Okay.
And then we are not referring to them as ministers.
Okay.
Because I don't know what makes somebody that is singing to God a minister.
Okay, thank you.
Shock all of you.
Wait,
Now, listen, Listen. Just hold on. A pastor came out and complained about ministers coming to charge. Can you please let us ask those pastors as well that why are they charging for counseling? That's one. You're going to go to them now for counseling. They'll give you a price to pay. Yes, of course, $100. You remember? So if this old pastor can charge $100 for counseling and he's complaining of someone coming to minister charging his or her own, can you see?
It's a brilliant topic, and when I saw my most respected Apostle Femi Lazarus, I love that man so much. He's a man of God. Yeah. So what I want to say is that you see, it's not wrong if these ministers, the gospel artists request for money. You see, we perceive that this is wrong because of how we term the word business. This is the source of all this problem. That somebody asks for money, because they came to your church to minister does not make it a sin or something that is wrong, right? So I will expatiate. What is business? Okay, don't let me go deeper into it. We have social ventures and non-social ventures. Social ventures are ventures that you do for the benefit of what? For the people. It does not mean that those social ventures, some people are not what? Financing it. It does not mean that some people are not putting in their money to make it thrive, right? But it means that some people are financing these social ventures. Nothing moves except you do what? You put in money, which is resources from God. I mean, resources God put on the heart that we translate. I mean,
Transgender. Sorry.
No. That we transform into resources like words, like money, and the rest, right? But when you are seeing money as just paper, you are getting it wrong.
Okay.
It's just like a normal resources God are put into the ground for us to, manifest, to do a lot of things, continue as well. So if gospel artists are asking for money, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Pay them.
Okay.
They are working.
Okay.
You understand?
Well, I guess this whole thing about gospel ministry still have a long way to go. People are still talking about it. People are still airing out their opinions about it, which I think is a very healthy thing to do. It's always nice for people to be able to share their thoughts and opinions on the things they value most, right? And I love it. And I think this whole thing was brought about by our man of God, Pastor Femi Lazarus. He was really, really disappointed with some gospel artists or gospel musicians whom he wanted them to perform. I don't know what went wrong, but from the way he talked about it in a video that I saw, made me understand that things didn't go as planned. So he wasn't happy with it. But I have always have this opinion in mind. And I think I have made it clear on this particular platform a couple of times. And that opinion has always been that if someone is performing a service and that individual wanted to be paid and he or she made it very clear from day one that they want to be paid, you have an option to either pay them and use their services or don't pay them and let them go. You have a choice, okay? You have a choice in this. You can decide to pay them what they are asking for and let them serve you. Or you can decide not to pay them. Whatever the reason might be is totally immaterial. But you can decide not to pay them and just let them go. Let them stay with their services. I think that it is a very nice way to do it. But all this back and forth conversation about whether or not people should be paid for a service they want to perform is useless, in my own opinion, because you won't force them to do what they don't want to do. You won't force them to work for free if they wanted to be paid. You won't force them to work for free. And no one should work for free if they want to be paid. Now listen, if someone is offering their services for free, by all means you can get it. You can use the services if they are offering it for free. But if they willingly wanted to be paid for their services, then why are you against it? Why are you against it? After all, it's their services. And let me be clear with you guys, right? Some of these so-called gospel ministers or gospel artists have no other profession than the singing that they actually do. That is just all what they do. They sing from morning till night. And if someone got talent for singing, why shouldn't they convert that talent into their profession? Now, when I say this, some Christians and some men of God don't like it. The honest truth is, and I don't care if this rub off you the wrong way, but the simple truth is, church in Africa is a business. I know. It sounds so controversial, but it's the truth. All those churches are businesses. All those men of God are running their private businesses. And you, the worshiper, you, the follower, you are the client. And the Bible is the product they are selling. That is what they are doing. Now you can sit there and decide it upon yourself to consider the church the way you wanted to consider it. It's all your own personal business. You have the right to do so. But if you could just open your eyes and see what is going on, if you could just open your eyes and look beneath the surface of everything your man of God tells you, you will come to understand exactly what I'm talking about. So if the pastor is eating from the church, if the pastor has put in place structures that can generate income for the church, why would that same pastor want to stop the gospel minister from also getting something from his or her talent? Why would the pastor be disgruntled about the gospel minister requesting some finances for their services? And if that man of God doesn't want to pay or don't have the money to pay, can't he just use the ones in his church? Why even calling people from outside when you have a choir in your own church? If you don't have it, you have members. You can create one for yourself. You can learn to build things from scratch. Those boys and girls in your church, you can select a few who are passionate about singing. And you can train them. You can let them sing. You can let them polish up their skills as time went by. And within a couple of years, they might become very good at what they do. You don't need to invite artists from outside. It's not necessary, especially if you don't want to pay. Especially when you think that gospel ministering is not a career. If you feel this way, then there's no need to invite them to come in. There is no need for that. And like one of the speakers said, it's not like the pastors don't know why they invite the gospel ministers. It's not like the pastors are doing something out of the goodness of their heart by inviting the gospel ministers. No, it's not like that. The pastors understand the reason, or they know very well why they are inviting these gospel ministers. It is because these gospel ministers are popular. And when they invite them, when they use them for promotion or promoting their crusade or their event, they are sure many people will turn up. Because those people like the gospel ministers. And since those gospel ministers will be there in that event or that crusade, the gospel ministers' fans and supporters will likely show up. So, this is just a clear case of self-centeredness and one looking after their own self-interest. So we all need to get this very, very clearly.